This is the most powerful and fearsome lion in Africa. Anyone who comes close or is seen by it will be killed by it. Recently, all members of a tribe were victims of a massacre caused by this lion. Why does it hate humans so much? It turns out that its entire family was killed by poachers. It was the only survivor and was determined to take revenge on those who killed its family. Since then, it has been willing to kill anyone it sees. Nate, a doctor, recently suffered the loss of his wife. To help his two daughters, Meredith and Nora, overcome their grief, he decides to take them to Africa to clear their minds. There, Nate meets his best friend Martin. Martin invites Nate's family to his home for a vacation. That evening, Martin went to the kitchen to prepare dinner for the family. However, the atmosphere became tense when Nora criticized her father for not being there for her mother during her illness. Nate decided to drink to relieve the tension. He told Martin that, although he was a good doctor, he had not recognized the signs of his wife's cancer. By the time he realized it, it was too late. With this trip, Nate hoped that his family could forget the pain and look forward to the future. The next morning, Martin took everyone on a tour of the wildlife sanctuary. They quickly made their way through the bushes and trees. The first animals they saw were giraffes. Meredith took pictures of everything she saw. They then drove to a nearby location to meet a friend, who took them to see a local pride of lions. The leader's roar echoed throughout the area, scaring Nora. As Martin approached, the leader recognized Martin and ran to hug him, showing the special bond they had, as Martin had cared for and raised the lion since they were cubs. Martin discovered that the lioness had been wounded in the leg. When he tried to get closer to examine her, the lioness refused. He informed his friend that a poacher had attacked the lion and reminded his friend to protect the pride. The group then continued their journey to the Tsonga tribe, but when they arrived, they found no one there. Nate sensed that something was wrong and asked Martin to leave. Martin warned Nate not to let the girls into the house, because he had discovered that several members of the tribe had been brutally killed, with claw marks similar to those of lions. However, he did not believe that the local lion pride cause, as they had never attacked humans. When they decided to go to the police station to report the incident, Nora suddenly disappeared. They soon heard her desperate screams coming from behind. It turned out that Nora had seen the dead body of a woman and her cow. The gruesome scene frightened the group, and they quickly drove away from the village. Martin tried to call his friend, but the distance was too far to connect. At this time, they heard someone calling for help on the road. Nate also went down there to check and calm the two girls. The man who was calling for help was injured all over his body. Martin heard a strange sound and asked everyone to keep quiet. He decided to go into the bushes by the roadside to check, while Nate took care of the injured man. Armed with a gun, Martin ventured deep into the forest. Suddenly, a flock of bats flew by, and a crocodile appeared, scaring him. Soon after, Martin heard the roar of a lion. While he was carefully observing from the middle of the river, he was suddenly attacked from behind. The sound of gunfire made Nate nervous, and he immediately ran into the forest to help his friend. Meredith, worried about her father, decides to leave Nora behind and follow him. However, before they can go far, the two of them have to quickly get into the car when a furious lion charges towards them. This is the lion that lost his entire family after being killed by hunters. It is trying to break the car door to get in. Seeing the door open, it reaches in and grabs Nate's leg. Meredith panics, accelerates and drives away, causing the lion to fall over. However, not knowing how to drive, she crashes the car into a tree on the side of a cliff. Nate tries to stay calm and comforts his two daughters. Suddenly, the radio speaks. It turns out that Martin is still alive after the attack. However, his leg was torn off by the lion, causing him to lose too much blood and start to panic. Nate tells Martin to use a lighter to heat a knife and press it into the wound to stop the bleeding. The scene around was dangerous. Nate told Martin to stay put, and he would come to save him. However, a ferocious lion appeared near Martin, making it very difficult to rescue him. However, Nate could not let his friend be in danger, so he took out a tranquilizer gun to deal with the lion. At that moment, Martin announced that the lion was gone. So Nate decided to open the roof of the car and climb up to observe. He used the tranquilizer gun's binoculars to look for any movement in the forest. Martin pointed out that he was near a ranger's watchtower, and Nate immediately spotted the watchtower. Meredith was about to go down to help Martin, but as soon as her got out of the car, the lion appeared. Nate quickly fired the first shot but missed. With the second shot, he was attacked by the lion and fell to the ground. He immediately ducked under the car to avoid its sharp teeth. Seeing this, the lion changed direction and started attacking the car. Taking advantage of this, Nate quickly got out of the car and got the tranquilizer gun. On the other side, Meredith had found Martin, while Nate was trying to get the tranquilizer arrow, but was fiercely attacked by the lion. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Nora stuck a tranquilizer needle into the lions, but from inside the car. The lion began to feel dizzy and ran away. At the same time, Meredith quickly brought Martin back to the car. Nate immediately used antiseptic to treat his friend's wound. Next, Nate continued to stitch the wound to help it heal. The lion was still stalking them. It was waiting for an opportunity to attack. Perhaps the previous anesthetic was not strong enough for it. Late at night, when the two girls were sleeping, Martin woke up and began talking about this strange lion. It had attacked and killed many people, but had not eaten anyone. Perhaps this stemmed from the lion's deep hatred for humans, due to the rampage of poachers. While they were sleeping, suddenly picked up a radio signal somewhere. Nate quickly contacted them for help. At this moment, two strange cars came from behind. However, they were not rescue cars, but poachers' cars. Despite the dangerous situation, Nate still begged them for help. In order to agree, Nate had to pay $5,000. However, when the leader saw Martin in the car, he became agitated because Martin was against poaching, and they hated him very much. As a result, Nate was beaten unconscious, and Nora was taken away. Just then, a lion suddenly appeared and attacked the poachers. Taking this opportunity, Nate quickly put his daughter in the car. He intended to take the poacher's truck, but could not find the car keys. This was the only chance to escape danger, so Nate decided to find the person holding the car keys. He immediately ran towards the area, where the poachers were being attacked by lions. Nate moved carefully, trying not to make any noise as the lion was around. Suddenly, Meredith called him, causing Nate to throw his walkie-talkie into the mud. When the lion appeared, he escaped in time. The two daughters heard the lions breathing through the walkie-talkie, thinking that their father was no longer alive. Meanwhile, Nate hid on a tree branch, trying not to make any noise. At this moment, a snake approached. Nate pushed the snake onto the lion's back. Unexpectedly, the lion panicked and ran away. Nate immediately chased the lion to the riverbank, where the poachers were being attacked. The lion sensed that someone was following him, so he jumped up a tree to sniff it out. When he thought he could not escape, Meredith honked the car horn to lure the lion away. Escape danger. Nate quickly found the keys on the hunter. He used the walkie-talkie to contact everyone, and took the rifle for self-defense. However, on the other side, furious lion approached them. It stuck its head through the glassless door, trying to bite Martin. To protect Meredith and Nora, he risked his life to hold the lion's head, so they could run to the hunter's car. Immediately after, both the car and the lion fell down the cliff. However, the lion was not dead yet and staggered toward Martin's car. It turned back, forcing Martin to decide to burn them both alive. At this time, Nate just returned, finding his eldest daughter injured. He quickly wrapped his shirt around Meredith's wound to stop the bleeding, then ran to check on Martin. But the sight before him left him stunned. No miracle had happened. The next morning, 3 hunters drove out of the gloomy woods. They soon reached the territory of the local lion pride. Meredith was in a lot of pain, so Nate stopped the car and took her to an abandoned school. He and Nora searched for supplies to treat Meredith's wounds. After a while of searching, Nate found some cotton and part of a wine bottle. Thanks to that, Meredith's wound was temporarily protected from infection. To survive, Nate decided to go find some water, but he did not know that the ferocious lion was still alive and was stalking him outside. When it started to enter the house, the seriously injured Meredith also had to stand up and run away. When the lion roared, Nate realized its presence. He immediately ran to shoot it away, and he used up all the bullets in the gun. Therefore, he was forced to take his 2 daughters upstairs and close the door. Realizing that the lion would not give up easily, Nate decided to confront it. He grabbed a fruit knife and ran down to the yard, provoking the lion to lure it away from the school to ensure the safety of the children. When the lion charged, he quickly turned around and stabbed it, but the small knife was not enough to kill it, making it even more furious. In desperation, Nate still tried to stab the lion many times. As the situation became more and more dangerous, 2 male lions from the local lion pride discovered the intruder in their territory. They immediately ran to attack the mad lion. The fight was very fierce. When he woke up, he found himself in a hospital with many injuries, but he was not too worried because his 2 daughters were safe. Humans cause pain to animals because of greed. We need to stop and think so that our children can live in a better environment. The movie ends here. Goodbye and see you again.